since the Suns made a finals appearance for the Bucks, 47 years, and their franchise player returns tonight.
Heaven now on earth, half a million on the watch. 3 bands on the sweater just to let it watch.
Fires up a three, it's good, and the foul. Chris Paul has taken control of game 1.
You can send it Bitcoin down and dribble it with stock.
Paul on the drive, count it and 1. Chris Paul's first finals game has been a brilliant performance.
That was brilliant. Game 1, game 2 tonight. Cassidy back with us. Cassidy, you know, it's so interesting. All the talk has been Chris Paul, what he did in game 1, but this team and what they've done together really stands out more than anything. And I thought this was so interesting. In our meeting earlier today, you talked about DeAndre Ayton and his development and how much that was a key to the Suns' success. Talk about that a little bit and what you've heard about DeAndre Ayton and how he's developed.
Yeah, and the sense I also get from the team is that they're even surprised at how consistent and reliable he's been in these playoffs. Chris Paul post-game after game 1 said, "There is no one I'm more happy for to get the recognition for the hard work than DeAndre Ayton." And he even joked with Devin Booker because we've been on his you-know-what all season long. And Ayton has said that he didn't know what it took to be a professional until really the bubble last season. And he even admitted that early on in his career, he was scared of matchups. He would look at the guy on the other side of the court and be like, I have to go up against him. And, you know, now he's just developed and matured. After I talked to him when he hit that valley-oop, the first thing he said when I asked him about the execution, he said, I'm just coachable. And he has a guy in CP3 who is relentless, showing him how to be a professional. And I think that's why he said that CP3 has changed his career and owes a lot to his leadership.
And there's also so much talk about the fact that he has learned to play hard every single night. I hope the Suns remember this when it comes contract time for CP3 and what he's doing for these guys. So how has CP3's leadership evolved on the Suns team? Because he wasn't liked in a lot of other places.
Well, I think it's just been a perfect storm for Chris. I think you also got to look at the true partnership between him and Monty Williams. And Monty has talked about this. Their relationship is deeper than player-coach. Obviously, Chris was there for him during the biggest tragedy of his life when he lost his wife in that car crash. But that relationship that they have, Monty has even admitted that Chris can do things leadership-wise on this team that he is not capable of doing. And that trust has trickled down throughout that team. And you just have to combine his leadership off the course, what he's done with the bubble, et cetera, to how he's mentored these young guys on this team. And that's where you're seeing true execution of just all-around trust and a solid unit.
Yeah, it's like having a second coach right there on the floor. I feel like I'm Chris Paul's agent. Rooting for a new deal for him. All right, so yeah, I just want to ask you quickly on Giannis. Can you give us an update on his health? I mean, obviously he had a pretty good game, but not kind of a Giannis game in game 1. How's he doing?
Yeah, he says he's feeling fine. He says he's not thinking about his knee. He's not worried about his knee. You got to take that with a grain of salt. But look, what we saw in game 1, it didn't look like he was thinking about his knee when he was doing that chase down block and banging with Ayton down low. Coach Budenholzer said basically Giannis is a rhythm guy, and so he feels good about his injury, just about needing to get more reps, game action, and he hopes that he will be more comfortable as the series goes along.
And we'll see what that looks like tonight in game 2. Cassidy, so great to have you with us today.
Been my pleasure.
Oh, this has been amazing. Great job by you. All right, let's bring in Jalen Rose, talk a little bit more about this series. There he is. Jalen, Giannis is all the talk right now. The Bucks, what does Giannis need and the Bucks need to do to win game 2?
Ryan, good morning. What up, though, Cassidy? Here's the thing. If you're the Bucks, you got to get points in the paint. Like, the one thing that the Bucks have that most teams don't have is that they start 2 7-footers. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's a terrific back-to-back MVP, Defensive Player of the Year type of guy, who returned for game 1. It was incredible to see him return after watching a 7-foot guy be 15 feet almost in the air and land on his leg, and it basically almost snapped like a toothpick. I was watching this dude from the time he went on the floor each time out. And the crazy thing is vertically, he was moving fine, right? But horizontally, he was struggling a little bit. He was limping a little bit in and out of timeouts. And so it's going to be interesting to see how he responds in game 2. But if you're the Bucks, it has to be about points in the paint. Giannis, drive the basketball. Brook Lopez, post and make sure you get offensive rebounds. Bobby Portis, do your post moves and stay in the paint. And lastly, DeAndre Ayton's emergence has been phenomenal, but nobody knows who their backup center is. Dario Saric is already out with the knee injury. They got Frank the Tank Kaminsky as their backup center. You got to find a way to get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble. Get him in actions. Force Phoenix to go bigger into their lineup when they come off the bench. If you're the Bucks, that is a mandatory thing, Ryan.
Yeah, play to your strengths. Now, I want to talk to you about CP3. And I mentioned earlier that some didn't like him in other places. Not necessarily that. It's that some guys chafed under his leadership. But now it's like these Suns are responding to him in ways that are just incredible. What do you make of what CP3 is doing, not only in that category, but just on the court at age 36?
I just like you're teaching me words like chafe. You know, you're making me step my game up. And I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? You know, I appreciate that. So here's the deal for Chris Paul, right? He works the game. So many times, in particular, the primary ball handler of a team is a volume three-point shooter. He'll run a pick and roll. They'll reset it. He'll go off in action, and he'll get another player to come and do it. They exhaust a possession. So if you're on CP3, you got to force an old guy to finish at the hoop. You know, two things older guys don't want to do? They don't want to continue to drive to the basket, and they don't want to fall on the floor. Those are two things old guys don't want to do. You got to force him to be athletic. You see the play when Giannis was on CP3's hip and he got the and one? He was like, oh my God, I actually have a layup. I'm going to make sure I get an and one. So for Chris Paul defensively, you got to make him work. And also, where's Jrue Holiday? Where's Jrue Holiday? They're going to need his offense. Giannis returns. I expect Middleton to return. If you're going to have a big three for Phoenix, score 81 points with Book, CP3, and Ayton, you're going to need offense from Jrue Holiday. He's going to bring you defense. He's going to get assists. He's going to give you leadership. But you need offense from Jrue Holiday.
So who wins the series and why?
Phoenix in 6. I think it's their turn. And for you youngsters out there, this is like 1971 when the Big O actually went to Milwaukee, like CP3 went to Phoenix, and like Kawhi in his first year with the Raptors, and he brought them a championship. CP3 will not be denied. He never has arcade numbers. He never tries to put up 30. He's done that in back-to-back games. He senses it. He's overcome a shoulder injury. He's overcome COVID. You ain't never seen Chris Paul put his hands on James Harden's face like that or Blake Griffin's face like that. He reinvented himself in OKC. Now he's ready for the moment. I anticipate the Phoenix Suns are going to get their first championship in the franchise's history.
It really does seem like this is his time, and honestly, it couldn't happen to a better guy. Jalen Rose, so great to talk to you, my friend. All right, so Game 2, NBA Finals, tonight, 9 Eastern, on ABC and ESPN Deportes. Giannis and the Bucks look to even the series, while Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and the Suns try to take a 2-game lead. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 8:30.